and welcome to the Stormgate Kickstarter. I'm Tim Campbell. I'm the game director and president here at Frost Giant Studios. And we are here assembling some of the world's greatest RTS developers who've worked on some of the biggest franchises in the genre to come together to build the next evolution for the real-time strategy genre. Welcome to Stormgate. Our vision is to make the most fun RTS of all time. And to us, that means a lot of different things. First, it starts with core gameplay. We're opening up the RTS experience to new players through new modes, new ways of play. Whether you like story, or you enjoy cooperative experiences, or you want to get right into ladder and play hardcore competitive, we have content for you in Stormgate.
What I like about this video, I glanced at this yesterday, and I didn't watch all of it, but I watched part of it and I was like, oh, this video sums up why people are excited about Stormgate in a very good way. Whereas I feel like every time previously a bit of nice news comes out about Stormgate, there's a lot of people who have only seen little bits of it, right? Because it's a game still in development. So they're kind of like, what's the hype about? This is kind of dumb. So a lot of people were saying campaign, this game doesn't care about campaign. All I've seen is them testing 1v1 and doing multiplayer testing and talking to StarCraft pros. And if you focus on multiplayer, it's, not going to be a successful RTS, which is super true because having single player, co-op, and campaign experiences is a huge part of the RTS player base. And you can see they've put that first. So the thing is, when you're first developing the engine for a game, how the units work, how the races look, you have to do that before you actually develop a campaign, PvE, single player, and that sort of stuff. You need to be able to actually do that. So campaign, 1 to 3 players, that's something I think we're going to start seeing get advertised a lot more over the next month or two, or several months, because now they're actually at the point where the game is so playable. I'm sure they're probably working deeply on the campaigns now, but because they had to build a lot of other technology first, that's why we didn't hear about it much till now. So I think we're going to see a lot more of the more casual audience get a bit more excited as they start talking more about campaign. And obviously co-op has also just launched as well. 3 players versus AI. I'm going to be testing that today. That's really exciting. Because co-op is a very fun casual mode, and it is essentially in StarCraft. It was the first time StarCraft 2 had a mode come out that you could play after a long, tiring day at work, or your kids have been shouting all day, you finally got them to sleep, and you could actually go, I can not put on a brutal mutate, like 10 mutations. I can just hop in, play with a buddy. We've got some overpowered heroes. We can adjust the challenge level to the right amount. And it's like a very fun way to get that RTS experience without it necessarily taking the 100% energy, focus, and build order memorization that ladder requires. Now you're going to notice here, this says beta gameplay. All they're showing here is their editor right now. Basically saying, hey, we've built the engine. The community can run away and build cool stuff. That's one of the things I'm potentially most excited about. In the last few years, I've been really getting into a lot of the custom mods, as well as different custom campaigns that are built. You guys, anyone who watches Giant Grant games on YouTube knows how much cool stuff is built in-game editors by just passionate nerds creating cool stuff. So that essentially is just a massive way of opening up and supporting the RTS scene for the next decade. Because at the moment, a lot of those people are stuck in the StarCraft 2 engine, which is cool and it's great. But having a new engine, hopefully with more capabilities and just refreshing the whole thing is going to be great.
This is such a cool moment in our history.
Through new modes, new ways of play. Whether you like story, or you enjoy cooperative experiences, or you want to get right into ladder and play hardcore competitive, we have content for you in Stormgate. To build this vision, we had to start first with the technology and tools to bring it to life.
I mean, the engine is just Unreal Engine, isn't it? So maybe there's just some tools. They say later in this video, we'll get to it. Basically, they're going to talk about how they built the editor into the game, I believe.
I'm James Anhalt, the chief architect here at Frost Giant, and I'm here to show you the custom tech we built for Stormgate. It transforms Unreal Engine 5 into the most state-of-the-art real-time strategy game engine. Get ready for snowplay. Snowplay plus Unreal Engine 5 makes Stormgate a truly next-gen real-time strategy game, and we can't wait for you to get your hands on it and play.
All right, so
Early
chat
access.
says this guy looks like an AI or sounds like an AI. Yeah, he does. This is James Anholt. This man has a gigantic, turgid ability to make games run smoothly. So you can see his background: Diablo 2, Warcraft 3, Battle.net, StarCraft 2, Heart of the Swarm, plus more. Essentially, he's part of the reason why StarCraft 2 runs so smooth, and they got James on from the start to work on the engine to make it smooth. And this is the reason why we gush over Stormgate. Is it part of your contract to have this whole marketing preamble? I don't get paid anything by them. Technically, we do have the affiliate link. So if you buy collector's editions, I will get some money for that. Full disclosure, yes. However, that's how affiliate links work, of course. However, I would be doing this anyway. And the reason is every RTS over the last 10 years that's been released has felt clunky and non-responsive. It's just everything since StarCraft 2 has felt that way, right? The units are like, duh, and you're like, are we still using Dragoons from StarCraft? I'm like, how many units just get stuck on each other? Or it's just like Age of Empires 4, where you tell the guys to, you're like, archers, turn, and they're like, and they just like keep marching for like 6 seconds, and they're like, yeah. Then they just like start shooting their bow, and you're like, Jesus Christ! Oh my God! You're like, please react. You know, I'm trying to dodge these cannon shots. They're like, well, you should have dodged 5 seconds before the cannon fired, shouldn't you? You know, which is crazy when you've got games like Age of Empires 2, StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2 that are so smooth, right? Age of Empires 2 is very smooth, the definitive edition. So anyway, the fact that they went through, let's just go through very quickly. So 64 hertz speed. StarCraft 2 is played on, I think, 26.67, if memory serves. Essentially, I think this is like close to 3 times. So maybe it's even, maybe 22. It's 22.4. So it's like 2.8 times. I'm not good with numbers. It's almost 3 times more responsive, essentially. So that's kind of how often those orders are going through. Basically 3 times more responsive, your units. And StarCraft 2 already feels instantaneous. So I don't even know if we'll really feel that, but technically good. Up to 32 players at once. I imagine if you got 32 players playing an RTS and you're all building big armies, it's going to struggle. But who knows? Who knows? I don't know that for sure. I just can't imagine you're playing an RTS actually with 32 players in one game. We'll see what happens. Mass spectating, that's cool. So you can all hop in and watch pros play, which is exciting. Hot join, reconnect. So reconnecting games after you disconnect. Replays are already in the game right now. The interface is kind of dodge at the moment. It's not very good, but it's getting there. This is the most exciting one. And this kind of gets skimmed over in this video because they're summarizing everything they've done. And this is very important for people. Type in chat if you guys come from the butthole of the world. Who comes from Australia? Who's from Brazil? Who's from bloody somewhere that's not next to the biggest servers? Because rollback is really important for us. New Zealand, even more isolated than Australia. South Africa, yes, bloody Louisiana. Okay, so rollback, and I'm a super dumbass when it comes to tech. So this is a good explanation. If you guys are stupid like me, hopefully my stupid person explanation, because this is how I understand. So basically, rollback allows the game to be simulated on your computer rather than on a server. So normally what happens in StarCraft, right? For instance, I'll go in StarCraft and I'll build like 10 Zerglings, and then I want to control group them on my army. So I want to control click the eggs and add them to my army key. Problem, I need to wait, say 200 milliseconds, 300 milliseconds from pressing build unit before the game server registers it, goes, oh, okay, turns the lava into eggs, sends that information back to my computer, and then I can see the eggs pop up in my computer, select them, and control group them. So when I'm playing with a lot of lag from Australia, every single game, it means I have to wait before being able to do the next order in a sequence. And this is really important in RTS games, because if you're playing a Zerg vs Terran macro game, you can't be waiting. You're producing Ling Bane or Bio off 5 bases. You're running Banelings into each other's mineral lines. You've got Marine stutter stepping, that sort of stuff. It's a goddamn nightmare. So basically, rollback will allow it to be simulated on your own computer. And what happens is when you get desynced from, and it tries to predict, this is the part where I'm going to get really bad at the explanation. It tries to predict what your next action, the opponent's next actions are, and it's almost always right. But then if it kind of is like, oh, we got that one wrong, it will like quickly rewind a few milliseconds, put in the correct action that your opponent did, and like replay it. So technically you can, if you're playing on super high latency, have moments where it's like, oh wait, didn't that happen? Wait, what? Like it slightly rolls back, but it's in the millisecond range, so it's something you almost don't notice 99% of the time. It's imperceptible. But it's more important because it allows you to always give those sequential orders, right? And that's something in RTS games that drives you crazy when you're playing with lag. So rollback is the thing I'm most excited to play a lot more with and get a feel for kind of as time goes on. I think it's already switched on at the moment. Frost Giant's in the chat. Is it switched on the current testing? I believe it is. And I'll tell you what, I haven't noticed it, guys. And that's just because the game's felt pretty damn smooth. So I imagine that's what not noticing it means. I don't know if it's on or not. I don't know if it's turned on. But it has felt pretty smooth. I haven't played many games, full disclosure, guys. There's people who've been grinding the closed beta and writing build orders and memorizing things. I have not put that much time into it. But yeah, we'll see how we go.
At early access, we will have 3 distinct asymmetric factions, each with their own unique gameplay, their own unique identity, and core mechanics that are unique to them. We began developing Stormgate by focusing on our 1v1 mode initially. This allowed us to make sure that the game was responsive, units felt good, and the game blew us away. The response to our earliest pre-alpha test was that it was already incredibly fun. And so we've carried that with us forward into other modes.
Discovery, this is Command.
We're kicking off early access with the first few chapters of an epic sweeping campaign that will allow you to experience the story of Stormgate either solo or cooperatively with your friends. As an extension to our universe, we're building an expanding roster of hero characters that you can use in the single-player campaign or co-op as you're exploring the story, but that you can also lead into battle in the 3 versus AI cooperative mode or in the 3v3 team mode that we're building after early access. We're then taking the technology and the tools that we've used to build all of these modes, and we're bundling them up
That's a
to
big
release
skull.
to you so that you can really unleash your creativity and introduce the world to your own stories, your own characters, and your own mods. Storytelling is near and dear to
You know, Grant's out there with a bit of a stiffy. Let's be real. Giant Grant Games is like, oh, we're gonna mod so much stuff. Next 20 years of gaming.
my heart. It's why I got into the games industry and began developing this type of game in the first place. I was the lead campaign designer on Warcraft 3 and the Frozen Throne, where I contributed to some of the epic chapters in Warcraft's history. Together with the designers here at Frost Giant, we're working with Mickey Nielsen, a multiple award-winning, best-selling author who helped contribute to Warcraft and StarCraft, working over 23 years at Blizzard on those franchises. Additionally, early on, we partnered with Chris Metzen himself, the war chief and one of the key creatives who came up with the vision for Warcraft and StarCraft originally. Together, we've created a framework for storytelling that's going to enable us to tell an ongoing narrative for years to come. So let me tell you a little.
So are they gonna have base building and stuff in the hero 3v3 the co-op hero mode? So it's 3 versus AI, Big Kenobi. So there's two 3v3 modes. There's 3v3 competitive, which will be exactly the same as normal mode, no heroes, I believe. But then there's the 3-player versus AI, which has heroes in it. You guys can let me know. I'm not 100% sure on everything, but I'm pretty sure that's the way it is. So basically, you got one mode. It's just 3v3, but there's no heroes. No, 3v3 PvP does have heroes. Oh, okay, I got that confused. Okay, but other than that, I'm pretty sure it'll still be base building, because if the 3 versus AI, you have heroes, but it's the same as co-op in StarCraft, where base building tech tree is exactly the same. You expand, the expansions are guarded just by groups of guys, and the AI sends like waves of attacks and stuff. I played one game of it yesterday. I played on a pretty easy difficulty. It was pretty easy. I just played with some random dudes last night before going to bed. It was pretty fun. But it's the same tech tree and base building as always. So the only difference that I could see is you have a hero and you're playing against AI rather than against humans.
A little bit about the universe of Stormgate. We're bringing together some of the best elements of both fantasy and sci-fi into a new post-apocalyptic setting. We're set in the near future inside the midst of this apocalypse, where an alien race of infernal, demonic invaders has swept into the world and destroyed civilization as we know it, subjugating all of humanity. And in the middle of this, we mix together post-apocalyptic settings with survivors and ragtag militias and marauders and all these desperate circumstances, along with hard sci-fi elements like battle mechs and spaceships and cybernetics. And then we introduced
Guys, has Frost Giant said anything about the third race? I heard they showed some images. This has to be them, right?
with Survivor.
I didn't realize there was a Mad Max third race, everybody, because they haven't announced the name or anything, right? But that looks like Mad Max third race, right? Because this doesn't look like Vanguard or as Infernal Host. It's not the third faction? Okay, maybe they're creeps, or maybe it's like a skin set where it's like a different set of Vanguard or something like that, where they just look like they're super Mad Maxy. Third race is going to be anime. Frost Giant in the chat says it's definitely not our third faction. It looks like it. Give Mad Max! Give Mad Max! The best skins ever released in StarCraft 2 were the Junker skins.
And ragtag militias and marauders and all these desperate circumstances, along with hard sci-fi elements like battle mechs and spaceships and cybernetics. And then we introduce through the others these fantasy elements with dark magic and sorcery and rituals. At the end of the day, what we really want to do is be able to have a mech punch a dragon.
God tier.
I have the pleasure of working.
That's the best. I told you guys that the production on this video is better than any video they've ever done, and that summarizes it right there. That little childish smile on his face as he delivers that line, that's pure bliss. That makes me trust a gaming company, you know?
What we want to do is be able to have a mech punch a dragon.
I had the pleasure of working on the StarCraft 2 version of co-op, and it was a mode that I love dearly. We see Stormgate's highly replayable 3-player co-op mode as an evolution of that mode, in which there are even more replayable missions. There are more opportunities to cooperate. In addition, enemies will be more varied. There will be more dynamic occurrences in every given map. One of our primary design goals with Stormgate co-op is that it'll be a new experience every time you play.
That looked like mutations, guys. It looked like there was a mutation to have random lightning strikes like hit on the map. In co-op in StarCraft 2, you could put on mutations where there'd just be like random nukes landing on the map and all sorts of stuff. So it's basically for people who don't want to play multiplayer but still want to level up the difficulty, you just add in these crazy mutations or variables that just make it kind of, you can level up the stressful factor and turn it into almost a speedrun level of difficulty, right? Chat says it's not a mutation. That's a punishment for failing to stop the caravan. Oh, I stopped every caravan in my mission because I was playing on normal difficulty. So, sorry. All right.
A large part of what makes Stormgate co-op very exciting is the heroes that we have planned for you all. The Stormgate hero is not only just a unit on the battlefield, it's also a brand new array of global abilities you can use anywhere on the map, and new units that are very specific to the hero itself. Let's take our first co-op hero, Blockade from the Vanguard faction. Blockade is known for being a resilient fighter supporting his teammates with heals and buffs. But Blockade's not just about defense. As one of the most grizzled fighters in the Vanguard army, he'll be able to jump into the battlefield and swing his hammer around to strike fear into enemies. And in a pinch, he'll be able to help his allies from across the map with his ability to teleport not only himself.
We don't even need them to talk about this. I'm going to go show him off in just a little bit, guys, which is awesome. Then we had Matt Weber, who worked with a lot of the esports scene, talking about how they really want to support homegrown esports. The main takeaway from this part of the video was him saying we don't want to get in the way of tournament organizers. We don't want to be a top-down kind of Riot or, say, 2013 WCS where they don't let organizers run tournaments. He was more like, hey, we'll give you guys the tools to run tournaments, let you guys run tournaments. So from the sounds of it, they don't want to run a top-down circuit where they're like, we're in charge, we control the licensing. They're just like, hey, we want to make a cool game and hopefully let the community kind of build an endemic, a natural, an organic, that's the word I'm looking for, an organic esports scene, which so many games these days try to just throw millions of dollars in and force it to be an esports scene. And that's how you get something like Heart of the Swarm being really great off the marketing budget 1 month and then the next month collapsing completely because they're like, we didn't sell as many skins this month and, you know, we're going to put those resources elsewhere and like the whole scene just collapses. And I think this is a more healthy way to do it. And then they've got like the editor and stuff. They're just kind of talking about the Kickstarter towards the end. They get the monetization guy on as well to talk about how basically they haven't made money yet and they're going to be selling models as well as access to the beta signed collector's editions, and a bunch of stuff on their Kickstarter. So you guys have already heard me talking about all that. Apparently YouTube's lagging its butt off right now. There we go.
The Vulcan mech is one of the defining
can get-
to make the Vulcan mech the centerpiece.
You can get yourself a cool model and stuff. But yeah, if you guys want to get on, please use my link !Stormgate in the chat to purchase it using my link if you're going to buy anything there. I believe you can get from $40 onwards. I believe it's the Deluxe Founders Pack, gives you access to Beta Wave 1 in early 2024. You cannot buy access to the game today. Right now we are in like a closed beta wave.